Thanks for joining us this week on Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. Join your hosts Chris Marriott and Paul Schreiner each week as they talk email marketing, life, purpose, faith, but mainly email marketing. If you're looking for some normalcy in these crazy times, you've come to the right place.
Welcome back to Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. Today, my friend Chris Marriott is not at home.
Well, I am at home, just not at home where I've been recording since the very first episode,
right?
Back in April. Now I'm in Alabama, which we'll talk about, hence the palm trees.
So much to talk about in that after show. My name is Paul Schreiner, one of the founders at Audience Point. Glad to get to be a part of this show with you, Chris.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to join. I look forward to our Monday morning recording sessions. Always good to see you and to have another great episode like we've got planned for today.
And this episode, Chris, is brought to you by...
Yes, who is it brought to us by?
It's brought to us by two organizations, both of which we're intimately connected. One is Audience Point, and try to riff a little bit on what we're doing at Audience Point each week. What we've been doing this week is spending a lot of time on just getting data formats right. And it sounds like, oh, it doesn't matter. We've got so many translators and interpreters that, formats don't matter, but it does. Every single detail matters, and we take the time to make sure it's right. And so we've been spending a lot of time on getting those formats right. We've been making sure that, it's fast and powerful and all the things. And so that's, I've got no sweet transition into Email Connect, but I'll just hand it all off to you.
And I'm Chris Marriott, president and founder of Email Connect, and the other sponsor of Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. And basically we help, as I say every week, brands connect, hence our name, with the right email partner. And I'll just say, if you think it isn't critical that you have the right partner, you need to think again. There's a lot of options that you have, but there's only one right option, and there's only one best option. We'll make sure you land on that. So that's my story. That's my pitch for the week.
Did you ever, when you were coming up with a name, did you ever consider Email Disconnect? Because I would think that would be a terrible name for your organization, because it would encourage people to not connect with their email service provider.
We did not consider that, but again, if you want to hear the history of our company, you can go back to the boring episode where Paul just spoke to me. That was a bonus episode. Be prepared for nonstop excitement and chills and thrills.
Well, we have a great guest today.
Fortunately, yes. Today, unlike that episode, we've got a great episode today for you. Really excited. It's our focus today, again, on the season, it's builders. Today, we're going to be talking to a woman who has built a fantastic career, and we're going to learn how she did that. And hopefully those of you listening or watching will pick up some good insights onto how you can build a great career.
So excited. She's a great guest. Super, super stoked.
So with that, let's go to the program.
Let's go.
Welcome back
to Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee.
Today, we're excited and delighted to have as our guest, Erin Levzo, who was recently appointed 2 months ago, I believe, to the position, a new position of Vice President Marketing Technology at Del Taco. Now, fans of Mexican food, and I know there's many of you listening today, the minute you saw who our guest was, will know that Del Taco is the second largest Mexican quick service restaurant in the U.S., or as us marketers say, QSR. QSR. But if I were that other one, which will remain unmentioned, I'd be looking over my shoulder. So Erin brings a wide breadth of experience. She's going to be great. She has a huge breadth of experience in marketing, marketing technology, mobile, ordering technology, hence QSR, as well as building loyalty, rewards programs across multiple, frankly, extremely interesting industries, as again, we'll be diving into. Also, she was recognized as a top 25 women to watch in mobile marketing. That was an award that she got from Mobile Marketer. And across her 15 years that we're going to, again, be drilling into today, it crosses casino gaming, hotels, hospitality, and restaurants. And among the places that she's worked, MGM Resorts, Caesars, Palms Casino Resort, Marcus Hotels, and Freebird's World Burrito, and Wingstop restaurants. So welcome, Aaron. Great to have you here today.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction. Thank you.
We have to practice those up on the weekend.
Right.
And I just want to leap right in because David was very excited about where you've worked, and you've had a really interesting arc to your career, and there's been a consistency to it in the types of industries. It's almost like producer David had made a list of industries I want to work in and companies I want to work for, and maybe he's done that. But again, you've got gaming, you've got QSR, wings. I mean, wings are maybe the best food on the planet, other than Mexican food. So you've been wings, burritos, Mexican food. You've been casinos, you've been luxury resorts. How much of this arc, because again, our focus today is, we talked about on Friday, is, again, our theme is the builders, and you've built a tremendous career. And so how much of this arc in these industries was planned, and how much of it was really opportunities too good to pass up, or a combination of both?
Absolutely. Nothing was planned. Absolutely nothing about my life has ever been planned. But I do believe that everything does happen for a reason. And like you said, each thing builds on the next thing. And so when something comes knocking, you have to have that feeling that this is the right time to jump. And in this case, that has been the feeling. Depending on which city I've moved from. The good news is I've never been in a city where I'm like, I'm never leaving this city, right? So we've been able to move around quite often, but it's allowed me to explore different industries. And I do believe that if someone's a really solid marketer, you can market anything. It's not just about, I can only market hotel rooms, because I never marketed hotel rooms. I marketed a feeling, an escape, an adventure. It was never about the hotel room.
I love that. And folks who are watching us, Paul is having some technical difficulty. He broke his MacBook today. We will continue the show. He's here, at least listening, and we will continue through the show. But yeah, I love what you just said. The idea, and I think for those of you, who want to think about what marketing means, Aaron, you said you weren't selling hotel rooms, you were selling a feeling, or I can't even remember the exact words you used. An adventure.
Escape.
Right. An experience. And how is that something that really in your mind only applies to what you've done in the resorts industry, or do you feel that that's something that you can apply at Del Taco, that you applied at the casino resorts?
Yeah, any industry, anywhere, you can apply. It's the feeling that something gives you, right? So at Wingstop, we weren't just selling wings. It was about the crave, this feeling like when you get wings on the brain, you are going to go eat wings at some point. My job is to make sure that you eat Wingstop wings, right?
Right.
And whether it was you were traveling for business, why you would choose my hotel over another one, was it because there was business and leisure to be had there? Whatever it might be, it's the feeling that it gives you. It's the need that it creates, because we can say, you don't sometimes realize that you want something until someone's explained to you what it is that you want, right? And that's how sales 101 is, that you first have to show someone why they need something before they're willing to say, like, no, I want that, because you showed them that there's a need for it.
Right. And Paul, now that you're back, I know I violated a cardinal rule, which is start with, what are we drinking?
Right. Well, my audio, I couldn't hear you guys. So finally I just left and rejoined.
Great. Well, so we are at the what you're drinking. So while you're drinking, Paul, why don't you go first?
I'm drinking a Starbucks mocha today, Chris. Having computer problems, which is why I'm on phone today as well. What a day it is. When we're working from home, to have the computer go down, blah. But yeah, they still serve coffee, so that's great.
Okay, very good. And Aaron, what are you drinking on Email Geeks at Home drinking coffee? Oh, Aaron has frozen. All right, I will go.
The good news is I'm not the only one who's crazy today.
That's true. It's one of those things. I'm drinking coffee, and because I'm down in Alabama, as I mentioned earlier. I don't have my, who am I kidding? I do have my regular coffee. And now it actually looks like I'm in the Dominican Republic, though I'm not.
Does. It does.
I'm not, but I am enjoying Santo Domingo coffee. And as always, fans of this show will recognize that this is where this kind of feeling was what Paul was hoping to get back in April or March, was it?
March, Chris. I think it was end of March, beginning of April was the time. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, there we go. And Aaron is back. And over to you, Aaron. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Spark in my mineral water. So
Awesome.
I'll tell you two things. One, Spark is my amino acid caffeine that replaces my coffee a lot of the times from Advocare. And then mineral water. I just started drinking mineral and spring water after watching the Zac Efron Down to Earth TV show that's on Netflix now.
Yes, they have a sommelier, a water.
Oh my
sommelier.
gosh. Yes. And so like after watching that whole episode, I've been telling everybody, I was like, I can't drink purified water anymore. I have to buy this water.
It's terrible for you. Zac Efron says so.
Wait.
It's so true.
For those of us who have not yet enjoyed Zac Efron, what's wrong with purified water?
So apparently it actually takes all the minerals out of the water when they purify it and filtrate it. And so what happens is when you drink it, your body takes the minerals that are already in your body, and your body needs minerals, and they like pull them together, and then they go through the waste process, versus mineral water, which comes with natural minerals like out of the spring water, and those are what your body needs. And so it actually is so much more healthy for you, they're saying, to drink the mineral and spring water, or like the Fiji water and things like that. But you can't, let's be real, I'm not going to spend a ton of money on water, but I did find mineral and spring water in the bottles. That was great. But they said like France has like the best water, and like in the US, we apparently chlorinate our water. So I haven't shut up talking about this episode because I'm like super fascinated by it.
And I agree. Like I had the same experience. I have a little bit of a man crush on Zac Efron. So we'll start there. And basically I was like, he's got a water show. Okay, I'm in. And I mean, absolutely fascinating. Great show. I think it's on Netflix is where I saw it. And they do a fantastic job of really just telling the story of water. And it's something that we all rely on. It's fundamental to who we are, and yet none of us really understand it. And so I don't think purified water is bad, right? Purified water is better than no water.
Correct.
But mineral water is much better for us. I'm bought in, right? Like that's how we find it. Nature is coming out of a spring, and we drink it. And now, but when we fundamentally change how we do things,
I can tell you that it's the best marketing in the world. Having that episode, I bet mineral and spring water has soared in sales.
Right.
So we should have, and I guess we don't want to actually name what not to drink, but maybe I think we all know what purified water is not to drink. But maybe we should give a shout out to some mineral water, as you said, Fiji. What about Poland Spring? Poland Spring, is that okay to drink?
Ice Mountain is what I'm drinking now. It says 100% natural spring water. I don't know a lot of the other ones just because I haven't researched it enough, other than I go to the store and I just look for the label that says spring or mineral water. Like, I'm in.
All right. Well, producer David, I know you're listening in, as you always do.
As you do.
This is something we'd like you to research for maybe next week's post show. We'd like to have a presentation on waters to drink and waters not to drink. So that's very interesting.
If he could get a shot with Zac Efron as well, I think that'd be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know what? In fact, if we could get him on the show, producer David, maybe that would finally convince Vince Vaughn to be on the show as well.
Right.
I understand he and Zach are very competitive about those roles in Hollywood. So one never knows. Anyway, before we wander,
we already
too far off topic.
I have first question, if that's okay, Chris.
Well, no, this was technically second because remember I asked the question about his career arc. But go ahead.
That's fine. Well, mine kind of dovetails nicely into that. And being that I don't want to say our audience is email marketers, but it's certainly our primary audience, where we started from and who we're often talking to. And so, Aaron, here's the thing. When we first started in the game at Audience Point, I don't know, 10 years ago, roughly, I remember sort of sitting down. I don't remember who it was, but I call him the email glitterati. And I know you knew
the cool kids of email marketing, but
the cool kids. That's right. And so,
which we suspect David of being a member of, by the way.
Right. So. The first thing I was told was, like, the bottom of the marketing totem pole is email marketing. Everyone gets into email marketing so they can get into what they really want to do within sort of digital marketing, within marketing as a whole. And so I want to kind of lean into that a little bit with you, Aaron, because you're the success story, right? Like you've climbed the ladder, you've made a success everywhere you've been. What are your thoughts on that in terms of email being a springboard into other aspects of digital marketing?
Well, I'm sure it could be, but I would never, ever say it's the bottom of the totem pole, because I think there's so much that goes into email marketing as part of your messaging architecture for a brand and how you really target your customers. And it's exploded over the last 5 or 6 years once we've been able to actually put the technology behind making segmentation become micro segmentation to become personalization, and which has allowed that through messaging such as email and mobile messaging, et cetera. So I wouldn't say it's, but I do have a strong passion for it, because it's where I think you get to learn your customers' preferences and loves the best.
Well, it's relationship driven, right? I mean, isn't that the whole idea of email? This is about building a relationship with your customer. So if you want to understand how to do digital marketing, the idea of relationship-based marketing, as opposed to sort of outbound pay-per-click, whatever that looks like, this is a great way to understand who your customer is.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the spectrum, right? Like, the best deal is when you can pull it all together, right? When you can take the digital, the PPC, your connected TV analytics, your email service providers analytics, and you can really tie them all together to start figuring out what that funnel ends up being. Because a lot of times as marketers, we make hypothesis, but until we can actually see it for ourselves, that's when we start to go, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Right.
It's interesting. One of our good friends, Shannon Murphy, works for Jack in the Box, and what she's made clear to me, and I'd like you to talk about this a little bit. You tend to think, quick service restaurants as being low tech, but the reality is they're, as a category, incredibly high tech, and connecting all the various platforms, from the ordering platform, the others are, in fact, it's one of the more challenging, your role there is one of the more challenging roles, pulling all these technologies together, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I think of it like the pinnacle, the middle of the wheel, right? Our job is to figure out how to connect and tie everything together. But it is challenging because people look at it and think, for instance, at Wingstop, they go, well, you just sell wings. Like, how hard can it be? And I was like, I sell boneless and bone in, plus times that by 11 flavors. Plus you can order like various amounts of them. I actually sell like 6,000 different things. And so making that ability to really understand, what does a customer order? What flavor do they order? What do they like? When are they ordering it? And based on how much they order, what the heck are they doing with it, right? Is really important. And so all of a sudden there's so many variables involved, and tacos are not that different, right? There's many different reasons and many different occasions. So it used to be in the pizza industry, would say, well, pizza's a family gathering, pizza's a sport food, pizza's a this. Guess what? Tacos are now that way, right?
Yep.
We have an entire day of the week dedicated to tacos.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. So there are so many reasons people eat tacos, and being able to help start to zone in on why someone comes to you. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And can I shift them to also eat tacos at a different day part and a different time? Or nope, this is what they've already decided their taco time is, right? That's really, it's fascinating, because we do get to look at all those analytics, and when is there too much email or not enough? There's so many things we can test as it relates to all the different pieces of the puzzle.
Well, and oftentimes, aren't you trying to, the whole goal is, if you can get X number of more occasions. I don't know whether
Mhm.
you measure by a week or a month, but using all of this marketing technology to understand what producer David likes, what is likely to get him in the store, so you can get him in, one more
Again,
time a week,
yes.
or I mean,
So,
isn't
and I'm
a-
sure Shannon would say the same thing in the restaurant industry, and all industries for real. We look at average ticket, right? Do I get to upsell you? Are you going to buy
Right.
more, right? You always buy
Right.
$5. I want you to buy 7,
Yep.
or amount of transactions. So whether it's you come again in a week, a month, whatever it might be in a year, I need to increase transactions of new guests and current guests, and then I need to increase average ticket. And
Right.
outside of that, everything funnels back to that. If it doesn't funnel back to that, why are we doing it?
Right.
And whether it's telling our story a certain way or how we talk to a certain population, it has to come back to either we increase the amount of money someone spent at a certain time or they came again. That's it.
Well, and I'll tell you, Aaron, since first getting to know you, what I've always loved about the way you approach marketing is you have this deep-seated curiosity, and it shines through, like, because it's not just like, how do we get someone from $5 to $7? You're asking a question: why are they there? How long are they staying? All of that. It like, for me, it's like, clearly you're a student of the game, but it also, just even from the perspective of people, like, I can tell you like people, right? Like, it's always been fun for me to hear you talk about your customer.
Yeah, I love people. I love that core to me, right? Is the people aspect of the business and understanding why people do what they do. And that goes not just in restaurants, but anything in my life.
Right.
My husband will tell you that I probably ask too many questions because he'll be like, I gave you all the information I had. And I'm like, just one more question. He's like, there is no
Right.
more information to give you. But in the work side of things, I tell everyone, I said, I'm going to ask you 100 questions and I'm just going to say, I'm sorry now, please bear with me. This is how I learn. And it's truly understanding to the core why someone does what they do. And I think of it as emotional technology. When we
Right.
can have technology enable what our feelings are, that ties it together, right? Why did you get up and do that? Why did you decide today was the day you were willing to get off the couch and go somewhere? What is that underlying motivation? And that is where we find the change makers to be able to shift gears or drive more revenue, is when we understand the why behind things.
Right.
Question for you. You briefly touched on, and tacos are such a cagey food. Pizza was sitting around thinking, we're the Friday food. We don't have to name it. People get, people are going to come home after work on Friday and get a pizza.
Tacos are cagey.
Whether we call it Pizza Friday or not. But tacos are like, you know what? Let's pick a day of the week that isn't that exciting now. We'll make it our day, and we'll see what happens. And so the question is, do taco sales actually spike on Tuesday? Were tacos right when they had that meeting and made that decision? Is Taco Tuesday the biggest sales day of the week, or at least of the non-weekend week?
Not necessarily, which is interesting, but it definitely gets people thinking about it, right? And so I also think, except for what was it? Taco Tuesday fell on Cinco de Mayo this year. And that was
heads must have exploded.
Yeah, that was a really big deal. But I think outside of that, what's interesting is just how it's taken over everybody's life, right? People talk about tacos just as much as they talk about other things now. In fact, we're talking about so Halloween. What do people order on Halloween? They order pizza, right? Pizza, and then you get your kids out. And I said, what is normal about 2020? Nothing.
Right.
Why would you have pizza on Halloween when you could have tacos? Let's just change it up completely.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, how serendipitous that Taco and Tuesday both start with T, right?
I don't know. Do you think that was planned or just?
Who doesn't love some good alliteration, right?
I know. Around our house, you'd think if there wasn't even a possibility of tacos being available on Tuesday, that some crime had been committed. It's an affront to the kids if there isn't at least a possibility of tacos on Tuesday.
My kids love tacos to the point where their birthday party last weekend, they had a taco piñata. They adore tacos.
And my kids the same. My kids love taco night at our house. I do have a question though, and I think it's again, it kind of fits with the whole like, what's different about 2020? Nothing, right? Or everything. It's
Everything.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
Like I remember Cinco de Mayo this year. You know, we're all in quarantine, stay at home order, but we're buying food for takeout. No one wanted to miss Cinco de Mayo, so in the Signal Mountain El Serape parking lot, I mean, people are standing, you know, 6 feet apart, the entire parking lot, and I remember talking to one guy. He's like, "I've been waiting 2.5 hours for queso dip," and I was like, "Yeah, I get it," because nothing's the same. And I think that's where I want to go, because today for me, my day has been entirely based on chaos, right? Like, my computer broke, so I have to go to the mall to get it fixed. Oh, I've got this call, so I'm going to be on my phone. Audio issues, all of the above. Everything's chaos, right? And I feel like that's you're kind of leaning into that right now and seeing it as an opportunity,
Yes,
as opposed to a challenge. How does that fit into your career, your life, all of those pieces?
all of the above. So one of my core strengths is positivity. Like I always lean on the side of like, all right, cool, let's figure this out. And I think the same goes for 2020. And you don't want to lose sight of a good crisis, a good pandemic, right? There's always opportunity. Look at the depression. That's when a lot of businesses, brand new businesses came out. The recession, the same thing. 9/11, the same thing. You saw people take not advantage, but they saw opportunity and they were able to build from there. And I think the same thing goes for now. And in my career, I'll tell you, my degree is in acting, which is, you know, super useful now. But the the acting degree, they teach you yes and, right? It's all about improv and you build on each other. And if someone comes into the room and is like, you know what, I'm wearing a Monsters outfit, you say, awesome, I'm glad you made it to the Halloween party, right? Like you just build on it and you grow with it and you add to it. And so my whole career has been about that growth, that opportunity. And when someone's like, hey, do you want to take this on? Do you want to try this? Okay. Like I don't want to be the one that says, no, that's a horrible idea. I want to say like, yeah, let's see what we can do with this. And if it doesn't work, cool. We won't waste much time and we'll move to the next thing.
Right.
You know, and I'm glad you brought up, because I was going to go in the Wayback Machine, because I know you did get a drama degree in college. I mean, one thing you and I had in common is we started college as drama majors. After freshman year, had enough Tai Chi to last a lifetime, and why they were teaching Tai Chi to drama majors, I don't know. Maybe you could explain that. I don't know if at your school if they did the same thing, but you were a drama major, and you took off. I love the story, so I'm not going to give too much detail because I want you to give the detail. You got in the car, Toyota Camry, 1990 Toyota Camry. See, we do our research on this show. Had to go back to DMV records. Anyway, so you got in your car from Illinois. We're going to drive to LA, and you stopped in Vegas.
So I
pick up the story.
Yeah,
You're going off to become a big actor in LA.
Yes, Chicago was too close to home because I went to Illinois State and I was worried I was going to fall back to my parents' house. So I packed up my car. I had $800 from working at Olive Garden, where I was a horrible waitress, and started driving. And when I got to Vegas, my whole plan was like, just figure out where in LA I can live, right? Because at that point, like, I don't know, I'll just figure it out when I get out there. Which my parents didn't much care for the planning there. But I get to Vegas and I realize I can't even afford to live anywhere in LA, right? Like that doesn't even seem reasonable. Like I won't have enough money. And so my parents were like, all right, just come home. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to stay in Vegas. And I
sounds normal.
Yeah. I found a $600 apartment for 2 months. So 2 months, it cost me $600 total because they had found a dead body in the dumpster. And
murder apartment.
yes. So it was fine. And I bought a mattress, no box springs, because I didn't even know what those were at that time, off the back of some guy's truck for $100, dragged it in my apartment. I had what was in my car, and I did eat Jack in the Box. And that was my memory, is eating Jack in the Box all the time until I could find a job, because I was like, I have $100 to last me until I can get a job. And I got a job, and I just started working my way up. So I worked for a psychologist right out of the gate that. She let me be the office manager and knew that that was not my passion.
Right.
And she let me use the computer to apply for other jobs. Got a job being a box office supervisor at Bally's Paris Rio, working on the Price is Right show and Jubilee, which used to be the longest running showgirl show, and like just fascinating because it allowed me to touch theater. And then when the producers, a Richard Frankel production, had come to Vegas from Broadway, they said, we want someone who has a theater background to work on this show.
Right.
I raised my hand immediately and got to work with some great folks, got to work with like Tony Danza, David Hasselhoff, a bunch of actors. Yeah.
The Hoff.
Yes. And then when because I was promoted to a manager in Caesars Corporate, they send you through a 5-day course where they teach you how to coach employees, engage employees. And at the end of that course, they said, you are a natural trainer. What do you think about joining the talent development team? And I was like, okay. And so joined training at Caesars. And then when the recession hit, I loved what I did. The recession hit, but they didn't need trainers. You don't need trainers when you're not hiring. And I was one of the first to be let go because I was like the last one in. And I remember Caesars Corporate said, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'll clean rooms. Like, I made a really poor decision and bought a house at what I thought was the lowest part of the recession in North Las Vegas. Not my smartest moment.
We've all been there.
I need to pay this. Like, what housekeeper? I don't care. And she goes, what do you know about internet marketing? And I said, I have the Facebook. And at that time, you actually had to type in the before Facebook in order to get the website. Yep. And like I had it in college when like you could put your course schedule on there and connect with your professors, because I think at one point that's kind of what it was going to be. Yeah. But I got interviewed by the corporate director at Caesars at the time, and she truly said, like, there is no reason to hire you. Like, you really do, like, you have the Facebook, but that's it. That's the extent of your internet knowledge.
But I have the Facebook.
Yeah, like obviously I know everything. I have had the internet longer than you have probably, so you should hire me. No, I said, you are completely right, but I have a photographic memory. I'll never give up. I can start immediately. And I promise you won't be disappointed. And and I told her, I said, I have a Midwest work ethic, which I think is important, because after seeing the work ethic of some folks, it seemed like that was a thing. And she said, okay, thank you. And I thought I had bombed it. I thought for sure, like, I'd be crawling back to Illinois. And I got a call the next day saying, yep, all right, you're on probation. You can be hired and you need to start immediately. And all right, let's go. And from there, I've been in marketing ever since. Ever since then, I was asked, do you want to go back to training? And I still love educating. I still love teaching. I still love coaching. But you know what? I found a sweet spot. I found a skill that I love and I can grow, and is very special to me. So no, I've stayed in marketing, and I've added the education factor to it, to teach and coach that way, which allows best of both worlds.
So, I was going to say, kids at home, one of the themes of this podcast since the beginning has been people get laid off. Right. And it's not the end of the world. People are getting laid off during the pandemic. We had Michael Lewis on talking about his job search. We had Ryan, our very first guest. We had Ryan, Paul, and I all talking about the times we were laid off. And the theme has generally been, it stinks, but it's not the end of the world. And I think we just heard another great story, Aaron, from you, where your whole career, if you hadn't been laid off, you wouldn't be on this podcast today. Correct. And this is the pinnacle of your career. Now you're on Email Geeks at Home drinking coffee. You've made it. And if you hadn't been laid off back in the day, you wouldn't be here today. But obviously I jest, but your whole career and your incredibly awesome career sprang from a very unpleasant event at the time. Like you said, you were worried, how am I going to pay for my house? How am I going to do this? But you didn't give up. You just dusted yourself off and said, you know what? I'll get another job.
Yep, exactly. And that's what you have to do. You have to just keep growing and building. And when the opportunity comes, don't say, oh, I need time to think about it. Say, yeah, I'll figure it out. Right.
That's great advice. So one of the things I wanted to ask, and producer David, we're getting a little echo. Is that coming from Paul?
It's probably me, Chris.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll work mute.
Okay. So Aaron, you've been on the client side, but you've also been on the agency side
Mhm.
for part of your career. Talk about, how those from your perspective differ, and if you have a preference for one side over the other. Obviously now you're on the client side, but so obviously I guess you should say you prefer the client side. So I won't ask that part of the question. Forget that part. But how about the, how do you see that? Because people that are listening or watching, maybe at a point in their career where they've either been laid off or they're just saying, do I want to stay in email marketing or even digital marketing on a client side, or do I want to go to the agency, or the other way around? So, having experienced both, what do you like about each?
I think they're both absolutely amazing. What I do think is that everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side. So I talk to agency folks who are like, my 5-year plan is to go on client side. I'm like, why? Like, you have it great over here. And then on the agent, like, I talk to clients who are like, I'd be really interested in working for an agency. I'm like, why? And there are pros and cons to both sides, right? Like, on an agency side, you might get to touch so many different industries and work on multiple industries, right? On the client side, you are your industry, right? You become
Right.
a product of that industry. And vice versa for both sides. I think agency side, there is the mentality that you jump when the client needs you to jump, which right or wrong exists. And
Yep.
the client side, there's the mentality that like, hey, the agency will be there when I need them. And I think one of the reasons I loved working on the agency side is for what I mentioned, which is working on multiple different types of businesses, being able to constantly mentally shift and go, ooh, let's try that. Or, you know what, if that won't work over here, I bet I could get that to work over here. And the same idea happens with the collaboration, right? I think agencies tend to really, their focus is on a core set of a business, right? Which is helping each of their clients, while the client side is focused on the end game of whatever the product is that you
Mhm.
have. So again, I think there's pros and cons, and not even cons, but like things that you might get on one side that you may not get on the other.
Right.
But there's something that I've loved about both sides of it, right? The agency side was a wild ride, and I was on a plane all the time, and I got to see so many different things and interact with so many different things. The client side is really great for my family. It's really great because I get to immerse myself into one product that I get to live and breathe every single day. It's I don't know that one is better than the other. I think they're both really exciting. I know when I
Yep.
did join the agency side, they said I got to be the angry client on some calls, right? Like for training. And that
Right.
was always fun because I will tell everybody I work with, I'm not easy to work with. I don't pretend to be easy to work with. I know that I am very demanding. I know that if someone tells me they're going to do something, it turns out I expect you to do it. It's so crazy.
Shocker.
Same thing for my children as well. But I think what's interesting is when an agency used to say like, here's our estimate, here's what we think it'll cost. And then they'd come back to me and I'm like, they go, we were wrong. We're going to actually charge you more. No, you're not.
Right.
No, over my dead body, you're going to charge me more. Like you said it was going to cost this. And they were like, well, we didn't know. Well, then you should have done your due diligence, but you're not charging me more money. So figure out how it's going to work out.
Right.
And so that's, I think by doing that and working as agency and client partners, we raise the bar for each other as well.
Right.
I have loved my experience, and I think it's helped me be a better client and vice versa.
That's a good point. I'm sure it's made you somewhat of a more empathetic client, having walked in the agency shoes. Because my background is always, I've always been agency side, and everything you said about it is true. The variety of things you get to work on, and the fact that you're always there for your client, and and that takes a certain, I think, mentality to be willing to be always there for your client. Because sometimes, for me, I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and I said, and I don't want to make this about me, but I'll make it about me for 30 seconds. I had a client where they needed, if the weather went bad and packages weren't going to be delivered overnight as promised, they needed to send an email out by a certain time in the morning, or they were liable for the penalties for not getting it there. And this was in email marketing. So Paul, I'm bringing it back to email marketing. They needed to get an email out. And I was the last line of defense. They called the person who worked on their business. They called that person's boss. And if they didn't reach either of them, I 250 people reported to me, but I was the guy getting the 6 a.m. call on a Saturday saying,
right.
get that email out. And as much as I hated that call, there was a certain satisfaction to, you know what, I got the job done for my client.
Exactly.
When they, and I think that's, that kind of empathy again, you say you're a tough client, but you also have, and I'm sure you are, but you also have that empathy. You've walked in their shoes.
Yeah, you do. And I think on the agency side too, is where I probably felt the most like I used my acting degree or theater degree, because it was almost like that preparation before you walk on stage. If you have 12 different meetings in a day with 12 different clients and someone's prepping you going, all right, they're from the South. Here's what they like. Here's what they dislike. Here's what we're looking to do with them. All right, go. And you just had to turn it on. And like the person I was, like I'm always core to who I am, but you're able to quickly shift based on what the client's needs and wants were, which is what you look for when you look for a good agency, right? Someone who can shift with me. And that's made it the most exciting, but also where I got to use that theater degree a little bit.
Awesome.
Right. So you, and I think this is fascinating too, and I'd love to hear this part of your story. You live in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, which is a real place.
No, she wants to move there.
I'm moving there soon.
Oh,
I'm moving from
right.
Brookfield, Wisconsin to Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, still,
all
these
accuracy
are real
is important on this program. Accuracy
the
is
point
important.
is, these are real places. But somehow from Wisconsin, you found a job with Del Taco, which is headquartered in California, Southern California. How did that happen?
Good question. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I was speaking at a conference, and Lord knows what I was talking about. And afterwards I had met who is our CMO at Del Taco. He leaned over to me and he goes, I think we're going to work together someday. And I was like, super creepy, man, because I just met you. And we have turned into really good friends over time, right? Like industry friends. And I like to say people that share knowledge throughout. And he called me and we were chatting through another mutual friend. And he goes, I'm creating this position. I was like, cool. What do you want? And he's like, would you be interested? I was like, I'm not really looking to move to California right now. And he goes, what if you did it in Wisconsin? I was like, I think my closest Del Taco to me is like, I don't know, 600 miles away. And he's like, yeah, that's okay. And I was like, and I kept asking a lot of questions because I was like, is it okay? Or is this like it's okay for 2 months and then I'm going to have to move to California, right? Because I've had other companies that have said that. And I was like, all right, well, let's keep chatting. And so we talked a little bit more, and I spoke to the CEO, who's absolutely amazing. And he has such a passion and a vision. And our franchisees, because I've worked on the franchise side as well, our franchisees and our corporate stores are both very important. And so just the internal dialogue that happens and the cross-functional teams collaboration that's happening were really enticing to me. And then this idea that, hey, we know we have a good foundation in technology, but we want to build on that was really exciting. So it didn't take much for me to go, all right, let's do this. Like, this sounds like a cool new challenge. And I joined the team, and even last week on conference calls, they're telling me it's 107 out there. I was like, it's 39 here. So we have that to connect on.
Right.
But I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay in Wisconsin. And once it's safe to travel and everything, I'll be flying out to California at least monthly.
Okay.
But it'll be good.
Well, for sure. Well, that's a cool story. And so, the takeaway there I have is just the value of networking, right? Like, because you sit by someone at a conference who says, we're going to work together someday, which, for what it's worth, okay, cool. The omens had spoken, follow the omens, whatever you want to call it. But then you said it wasn't just that. It was that there was this ongoing conversation that was taking place between the two of you, whether it's through LinkedIn, through text messages, through phone calls, through whatever. You guys stayed connected.
You just stayed connected. Yeah.
And you were listening for those moments that say, hey, this is the right time.
Yeah. And I think that that goes for anyone. Like I am very wear my heart on my sleeve. Like I tell people how I think. So like even when I meet someone, I'm not gonna just be nice to be nice. Like I'm a nice person, but if they ask me my opinion, I'm like, no, are you okay if I tell you why that's a bad idea? And so
Right.
I think there's some weird love of honesty in the world right now where like if we can care about people and still be honest with them, that's the most important. And a book that I read with my last team was called Radical Candor, and it was all
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Have you read it?
I
It's a
have.
great book, and it came out of technology too,
Mhm.
and kind of how it all started. But this idea that if you truly care about someone
Yep.
and your heart's in the right place, you should be able to be constructively give constructive criticism, and because you're helping them, right? But if you do not care about someone and you give them criticism, then you're an asshole. And
Yes.
it's really interesting because I teach people that if you're empathetic and you truly care, you have to be honest. You have to tell people how you think and how you feel and what you see. But if you hide it, that is not good either, right? Like you're not
Right.
helping anyone if you're just being nice to be nice.
I may have accidentally stolen that book from a former guest of ours, Joe DeSena. So radically candor, Joe. Sorry for stealing your book. No, but I will say this: I've applied it to parenting, which has
Mhm.
also been pretty interesting, right? My middle school daughter, who's been on the show, she came and she's like,
Selling merch.
yeah, selling merch, and she said, "I'm wondering if maybe I'm not the best soccer player in the world." And I said, "Sweetie, do you want me just to tell you the best soccer player in the world, or do you want the truth? Because the truth could cut a little bit. It may hurt, but I don't feel like I'm doing you any favors by just pretending for you so that you don't have your feelings hurt." And she goes, "No, I think I want to know." And so we sat down and we had an absolutely fantastic conversation about here's where you can improve, here's how I can do it. And it wasn't me trying to put her down, but it was me trying to say, here's how we can improve together. And I will say that book was quite helpful in just kind of setting the table for it.
Nice. Yeah. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing, right? You care
Yeah.
for her, you love her, you were honest with her.
Well, and I think as a boss or a leader in a corporate environment, I mean, none of us, or at least most of us, don't even like giving constructive feedback and
Right.
would rather duck that. But you're not helping at the end of the day if you ignore somebody who's got great potential, but you don't tell him or her the one or two things that might be holding them back.
Right.
Because it's easy, and Lord knows it's easy not to tell anybody anything. But then again, they're not. And what's funny is, at least in my experience, I don't mind getting constructive feedback. I'm really good at
Right.
getting it. I don't get offended or I'm grateful. I hate giving constructive feedback.
Oh, really?
Oh gosh, I hate giving it, Paul.
Really?
I mean that Paul, I could spend hours with you on that topic of things that I think you could do differently. But
I'm sure.
I'm taking the easy way out. I'm taking the easy
I'm
way out.
kind of thinking and reflecting. You don't offer up feedback much. You sort of take it and you sort of internalize it, like landing spectacular guests like Aaron, right? Like this is something I've sloughed off a little bit. You've run with it. You haven't said a word like, Paul, you could do better, all that. You just kind of reach out to folks like Aaron. You're like, I got another A talent. And I'm like, yes, you did.
Yeah, but you know what? But and you're nice. I mean, to me, it's like winning a big account. Getting somebody like Aaron or Stephanie Stuckey,
Yeah,
is awesome. It's like, it validates our show and our podcast. And
Right.
So I'm happy to do it. I mean, it's like, now producer David, you on the other hand, you and I are going to have a long conversation, but that'll be off the podcast. So in your new role, getting back to you, Aaron, not me and not Paul, getting back to you, our guest, who we just said it was so great to get you. So what are you looking at? What can you talk about? I know you've only been at Del Taco for 2 months, but what's on the horizon? What challenges do you see there? What are you going to tackle first? Again, assuming you can share that.
I'm hoping it's a secret menu.
I'm pretty sure that already exists. But I'm learning like that slogan, right? Like drinking out of the fire hose. It really is. Like, I don't know how that was created, but I want to research it. But it's ridiculous how much information I'm intaking every day while working remote. It's amazing. But I think first and foremost, my position's new. So there was no roadmap. There was no path of like, hey, you're going to pick up all these things that are already being done, because it didn't exist before. I do have a team that's worked on certain digital things. So one, taking in all that stuff, but then also growing for the future. And so
Yep.
the first plan of attack is to put together, what's the future look like? What does that look like? And we are currently, like we talked about earlier, in a crisis. And this crisis is changing how people purchase and behave and what they do differently. And are they ordering more through like Uber Eats or going through drive-throughs more than they've ever gone before? Or what are their expectations of cleanliness? And so we have such a great opportunity to take this and build for the future. And that's really right out of the gate. What does that look like? I don't know. I'm still researching it and figuring it out. There obviously will be a lot of technology because that's what I focus on behind it, and building that path forward to figure out how we get from where we are now into the future by taking all the learnings from the last 50 some years, right? This brand has been around and been very successful. And my position is just to help continue to push us forward. But all the learnings we have up until now, showing all the successes, is really, really great, and able to capitalize on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of reflecting a little bit. I think about the book. It's the book of Habit. I don't remember. It came out 4 or 5 years ago about habits and
the one, the yellow cover. Yeah,
yellow cover book, and every marketer knows it.
Apparently, I don't need
you do.
read
There's like a
business
wheel.
porn.
There's a wheel on it. I can't remember what it's
like
called.
A Ferris wheel or a rat wheel or something. Anyway, yes. But I remember
7 habits of effective
two things
managers.
it talked about in terms of when we change habits, or habit being very difficult. But there's natural sort of moments. One is when we move. Mm-hmm. One is when we have kids, and both of those times are major shifts. And when we change what we buy, right? Before we bought Downy, now we buy Tide because Tide is what kids need to have, or whatever the thing is, right? And so I think you looking at this, the pandemic the same way and saying, hey, everything's going to be different. We can change people's behavior right now. We can hook them on tacos 8 days a week. Right now is our chance. You know what I mean? And I think that's absolutely true. And I've been, speaking on the topic remotely, talking about like, it started with GDPR. That's a fundamental shift. And this is an opportunity for something new and something bigger and something better. And in the same way, the pandemic, as much as it sucks, this is the opportunity for something new, something different, something better, especially as marketers. So I love how you're thinking about that.
Awesome. Yeah. Don't lose the opportunity in a good crisis. And I think that habit book, it makes a lot of sense. It's funny, when I moved from Dallas to Austin, I was 8.5 months pregnant, and I was like, let's leave a job, start a new job, have a baby, buy a house, sell a house. Like, I just want to do all major life events all at once and see what happens.
Why not?
Hey, and it worked.
Yeah. There was a scare moment where I thought, I'm for sure going to end up having this baby in a hotel room. But luckily, we were able to get into a house right before the baby was born.
That's funny.
Okay. Well, Paul, I'm trying to work. Do you have any other questions, or is it time for?
It's time for the beloved round, Mr. Marriott.
The beloved lightning round. Okay. Producer David did not remind me to put it together, but I did on my own. Producer David, that'll be on the top of your constructive criticism list.
Yeah, it sounded like constructive feedback.
You should know that Chris is going to make that constructive criticism list, Producer David, but he won't ever share it with you.
Okay, so the lightning round, just so you know, Aaron, is I say a word or sometimes a couple of words, and you say the first thing that comes to mind. It's just like stream of consciousness. A word, a phrase, or whatever. And Paul and I will likely comment on most of your answers, and really determine whether we think we were getting what we were looking for, or whether it was a surprising answer. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So the first one is curds.
Cheese.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Yes.
That's the right answer. I'll just
That
say
is.
that out front.
And you know what I love? I didn't even need, I mean, you were so dialed in because,
Well, I live in Wisconsin, and cheese
Well,
curds
right.
are my favorite food. So.
Well, I should have mentioned this is the Wisconsin version of the lightning round. And
I would also accept fried as the associated word there.
yeah, but here's what I'm impressed is, depending on how somebody's brain works, I just said curds. They could have heard KURDS.
Yeah, for
said
sure.
people who live in Middle East. So again, now
Kurdistan.
we know. I mean, right, exactly. So great answer. All right, number 2. Friday.
Fun day. I like alliteration.
We'll come back to that one. That wasn't really what we were looking for, but
Well, I don't know, Chris. Friday fun day. That works for me.
it's not Wisconsin. I know, but Wisconsin, there's a
Oh yeah, Wisconsin Friday might be.
there's
different.
a better answer.
Fish fry.
Yes,
Fish fry,
okay. Fish fry. That's right.
Yes, I
Wisconsin.
had to learn that when I moved here too.
Yep, fish fry. They love their fish fries in Wisconsin. Fish taken out, freshwater fish taken out of Lake Michigan or Lake Superior, and a big old Wisconsin tradition.
All started because the Catholics wanted to drink.
That's exactly right. Well, and they wanted to. We also had to eat fish on Friday, so
They made it real cheap, so you could come into the bar and get cheap fish and a beer.
well, hey, fried food and beer, and then toss in some fried
Radical
cheese curds.
candor, Chris. That's what
Yeah.
you're getting right now.
Yeah,
Radical
toss in some
candor.
cheese curds though, and everybody's happy. Okay, next one. Old fashioned.
The drink. The
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. For the kids at home, old fashioned is a cocktail that actually tastes terrible.
Mhm.
Do not try this at home. It is one of the most acquired cocktail tastes, I think, on the planet.
I think it's Wisconsin's state drink.
I think it is too.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, at your fish fry, you're probably going to have an old fashioned instead of a beer. Unless you're me, I will have the beer. Okay. Number 4. 4 out of 5. Number 4. Door.
County.
Oh gosh, this might be the hottest lightning round ever. Yes.
She's
Door
on fire,
County.
Chris.
Door County, again, well known to non-Wisconsinites and Wisconsinites alike as where you go to look at the fall foliage, among other. Growing up in Illinois, well, you grew up in Illinois too, so I mean, so yeah, we every time this time of year, growing up in Illinois, you got all the commercials and ads from Door County saying, "Come on up, we got great leaves." Door County, otherwise known as the Vermont of Wisconsin. Okay, finally, Badger.
Football.
Yes. Okay. Boom. Badgers again. Bucky Badger is the mascot of University of Wisconsin. Wisconsin football, which will be again for fans of Big Ten football, starting up towards the end of October. We will have to see the return of Big Ten football. So, Paul, you'll be able to scratch that itch. I know you've been waiting for Ohio State, Michigan.
It's always been the Pac-10, now Pac-12 for me, and they're starting up first week in November as well. So we're going to have football, Chris.
We are going to have football. So that's the lightning round. Aaron, you did a fabulous job in the lightning round.
Yes, congratulations.
Yep. I mean, basically it shows you can connect into how I think because you gave pretty much the answers I was looking for on every one. So that was an awesome job.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's thank you time, Paul, unless you have any last minute questions.
I usually ask this of guests, someone who's inspired by you, by the things you said, maybe wants to reach out, connect. What's the best way to get a hold of you? LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, smoke signals, whatever you want. You could look at my TikTok, but you'd be very sad because it's just me and my 10-year-old making ridiculous videos. But on Twitter, you can find me. You just type in my name, Aaron Lovezo, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or eLovezo at Del Taco. It's pretty simple in this day and age. Like There's no, if someone ever reaches out and they're like, I couldn't figure out how to contact you, I'm like, what? Then we can't work together, because like you can find me everywhere.
That's
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks. You've been a fun guest. You've been a great
Absolutely.
guest. Paul, I feel like you and I, because Aaron, as you said, I mean, the last 2 weeks we've had on, Stephanie Stuckey, and I looked, for Stuckey's near Illinois, and again, I think nearest one was 600 miles, and then we had Del Taco, and I as well, 600 miles. So, Paul, we're going to need to go on a road trip.
Well, we actually have a Del Taco down in Georgia, which is just like 30 minutes
we have a
from
bunch
us.
But
I couldn't get to it in time with all the computer issues this morning. I was planning on doing the recording from the Del Taco eating tacos.
You have yes. Well, yesterday, just so you guys know, yesterday was National Taco Day. So another reason. Tacos.
There you go. Aaron, thank you so much. We so appreciate it. And hopefully this will connect with viewers, and there'll be some connections for you as well.
And great. Best of luck in the new job, and thanks for sharing with us today.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, have a good one. Thanks, everybody. And we're back with the after show. And
You're right. I'm sorry. I thought I was looking for something.
Well, and continuity, and as always, here we have producer David Inman. If I'm right behind you, could that possibly be from the TV series Fame? Not Fame, Glee?
Is it Glee?
Oh, it's High School Musical.
David, perchance, who was in High School Musical?
I only know one of these actors, and it's Zac Efron right here, unrelated to any of the content from the episode.
Right.
You just happened to put that on there. Well, at least we have a little bit of continuity, folks. If you've been paying attention, you'll notice Paul he appeared in his room in the pre-show. He's back in his room in the after show. During the show, he was in his car.
It's amazing what your computer breaking down will do when you're working at home okay, we're going to record the show from the car.
Yeah, and if you don't think that producer Dave and I were on tenterhooks that entire episode to think what equipment, because we all know Paul has equipment malfunctions, but
that's kind of my thing. You know what? We all have a thing.
Big ones and small ones, and fortunately, we only had you freeze once. I think your expression on the freeze was classic, and I think we might make it hopefully David might make it a screensaver or something that we can put and sell as merchandise. But anyway, here we are. We're back at the after show. I promised, and Paul didn't let me deliver, that I would talk about where I am on the after show.
Oh, I didn't even realize that, Chris.
But Paul has been subtly mocking, the cold north with his outdoor recording sessions in Chattanooga. Well, we're here now, or I'm here now, outdoors in Fairhope, Alabama, and where I'll be recording for the next few weeks.
You think I've been mocking the cold north, Chris? That's not true at all. I think of the cold north as our friends, our compatriots, allies.
Well, be that as it may, I'm outdoors now, and again, loving the palm trees that are.
I'll tell you what, palm trees make the world a better place, Chris.
They do, and we had, as you may have heard, a very bad hurricane here in Fairhope or in Alabama.
Yeah.
2 weeks back, and we were fortunate. Our trees are still standing. You walk around town, and the devastation still is stunning. Live oaks. Nothing sadder than seeing a 200-year-old live oak on its side, cut to pieces. We have several live oaks on our property. They are actually the only our flagpole broke, but you'll be glad to know I fixed it, so the flag is now proudly flying again. I fixed it earlier today.
Old Glory, Chris.
Old Glory is back up.
Yeah.
And the palm tree, the one palm tree in front that I lovingly clipped all the dead fronds and made it look beautiful.
It's well coiffed.
It was. It's now looking like a sad sack palm tree. Of course, it will come back because in Alabama we have 12 months of growing season, but it only looked good for apparently the 2 weeks after I cut all the dead fronds.
We actually had that hurricane come all the way up to Chattanooga. Did you know that, Chris?
Well, I do know it went north. I don't believe it was.
You don't even know that it came all the way up here, do you?
I don't believe it was
everything
still a
is about
hurricane.
you, Chris.
I don't believe it was a hurricane when it got to Chattanooga.
No, it was
Correct
not.
me if I'm wrong.
At that point, it was no longer a hurricane. It was just a really bad rainstorm.
Well, and producer David, how did you fare during that really bad rainstorm? Was
Hurricane,
it,
Chris? We still call it a hurricane, even though it was a really bad rainstorm.
And producer David, did you ever fear for your personal safety when this hurricane?
Don't put it in quotes.
When this hurricane came to Chattanooga?
You and your Alabama, we got hit by a real hurricane. You know.
Yeah. I mean, listen. There's the real South. There's real hurricanes.
Wait, now you're saying we're not even part of the real South?
Well, you're pretty far north. I mean, you're. I mean, yeah.
Where do we fit on the Mason-Dixon line, producer David? Are we north or south of the Mason-Dixon?
I do believe we are south of the Mason-Dixon.
South of the Mason-Dixon, Marriott.
All right, then I apologize for casting doubt on your southernness. Nevertheless, it was not a hurricane when it hit Chattanooga. It was a tropical depression at best.
You're a tropical depression.
So, producer David, love to know why Zac Efron fans can go back to. Was he ever on Glee, or am I misremembering?
No, Zac Efron was not on Glee.
He was never on Glee. Can you state that? I know it was High School Musical.
Yes, correct. High School Musical. This is the third High School Musical film. I think this is the only theatrical release. The first two are Disney original films.
Yeah.
But no Glee.
Here's a question for you. Actually, as Zac Efron was playing a senior in high school, what was his actual age during the filming of that?
That's a great question. You know how high school kids are never played by high school kids in films, but I don't know how old Zac Efron is. I think he's in his 50s by now.
Well, he pulled it off. You got to give him a lot of credit.
How old he was when he was doing High School Musical?
I'm guessing. I would guess late 20s for sure.
Chris, I'm saying there's a chance for you and I. I'm just saying. High School Musical 4.
Back to school.
No, you just say senior year, except for that's already been done.
Gap year. Back to High School Musical gap year.
There you go.
There we go. And the plot will roughly follow our musical shenanigans through the capitals of Europe as a gap year, a combination of traveling musical and gap year experience.
Yeah. I love this. And I think 2020 is the right year to take a gap year. You know what I mean? Because
why not?
Travel is so easy to do right now.
And everybody's going to welcome outsiders with open arms.
Well, no, I will say this: Alabama will open you with open arms right now. Is Illinois the same? Like if I was to go up into Illinois, I don't know how to say that right.
Illinois.
Are you sure it's not Illinois?
I've lived there for a long time. It's Illinois.
Okay.
You could have asked Erin. She would have.
You should know, Chris, that every time someone from Illinois, if you say Illinois, man, you can watch their face grimace.
I guess it's similar. Too bad you're from Washington State and not Oregon.
No,
because I know if I said Oregon, you would equally grimace.
It's not that big of a deal. No, but I'll say this, Chris. So here's the question. If someone from Alabama or Tennessee were to come up to Illinois, would we have to quarantine in place for 2 weeks?
Alabama for sure. I'm pretty sure Tennessee, yes.
Okay. So one way, yes, the other way, no. But I will say this. The other thing is our guest, Erin, she is currently living in the state of
Wisconsin.
You don't say it right. You don't say it the same way she does. There is a distinct Midwest sound of Wisconsin. Wisconsin. I can't even say it, but I'm going to watch it. I'll just put her saying Wisconsin on loop. I don't say it right.
No, apparently not.
It's kind of like Wisconsin. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, now you sound like Chris Farley, Chicago on the when he used to do the Bears, Chicago Bears.
But like a 6-inch Ditka,
Yeah.
full-size Ditka.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Chicago Bears, at some point we're going to have to mention their name just to watch your reaction to the season, because you have a new quarterback, a new season, new hope, new everything. How excited are you, Marriott?
Well, there was among Bears fans yesterday in the first quarter of the game, right off the bats, there was some confusion as to whether Trubisky had merely changed his jersey number to number 4 or not. It took a few quarters to clarify. No, he had not changed his jersey, but in fact, Nick Foles stinks as much as Trubisky. So
I don't think that's the case, and I think you've got some much deeper issues there in Chicago. Which sorry about that.
You know what? 3-1 when we could easily be 0-4.
I mean, whoa, and I know that this is not a let's talk nerd football, but we kind of cover the gamut, so I think this is in bounds. Have you taken a look at the NFC East? That's the one with the Cowboys, the Eagles. Who else is in that division?
The Washington football team.
Yeah, Washington football team. Then there's one other. I looked yesterday, and the
Giants.
The Giants. The division leader in that 1-3.
I think we can all make fun of that.
I'm like, that is me, right? Like that's my division. It is now, at least.
Well, I was glad to see your team, Seahawks, Russell Wilson, cooled off yesterday, because my fantasy team was playing my brother Spike, and he has Russell Wilson. And
I hate Spike. He's so good.
But he didn't have a good day yesterday. He didn't have a Russell Wilson day. I mean, he had a great day for most any other quarterback, but
Chris, I feel like you and I have been hogging the conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
And people don't tune in to listen to us.
No, they really come to the after show to hear what's on producer Dave's mind.
They want one person's
fan favorite, David Inman. So
fan favorite, David Inman.
David, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we're here. We're here to listen, and we're here to talk.
Well, you guys know very well that I could definitely contribute a lot to the Lubeski changing his jersey number conversation.
Yeah, Lubeski, I don't like his new jersey number.
Yeah. Not a big fan of Gabretsky.
Gabretsky's good too. You know what I mean?
All right, let's get back to Zac Efron, because this is so David, you were clearly a fan of High School Musical.
Actually, wasn't so much. I've never seen any of them. They were huge when I was in high school.
They were ginormous.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, they never.
You've never seen one? Maybe that's his assignment this week, Chris.
On top of the assignment we already gave him on water.
He watches one of the High School Musicals and gives us a little bit of a movie review.
No, you know what? Actually, I like that, but I want to make it okay. So we'll forget the water task. You're off the hook for that. But what I want to know is, what are the similar? I'd like a dissertation. So I'd like you to look at
compare and contrast
to Glee, because I think there's many similarities. You know, kids from.
Oh, you mean like the Fox Hack knockoff Glee? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, right. The Glee where the jock becomes the High School Musical guy, kind of like I think Zac Efron was in. So I'd like you to compare and contrast the High School Musical genre with the Glee genre, and ultimately we'd like to know, for our fans who want to binge watch one or the other.
Right. They don't want to waste their time.
Right. Which one would you?
They're busy people.
Do they watch Glee for 5 seasons or ever many seasons it has, or do they watch the 3 High School Musical movies?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the research I'm going to have to do over the next week.
Get to do, David.
I know. Part of me wish.
One thing to clarify here, Chris Marriott, you said to compare and contrast, and I'm just curious, what's the difference? Because wouldn't contrast be implicit in the word compare?
Well, weren't you ever given a essay question on a test somewhere where?
Well, yes, I was, Chris. And one of the things that's true about me is I question questions. And so, like when a instructor, professor, teacher would say,
Newman.
compare and contrast, I might say, how are they different? And so I say the same thing to you, so that we're giving producer David, fan favorite David Inman, clear marching orders.
Okay.
So what is it you want him to do? Do you want him to compare or contrast? Because I think they're the same thing. What are you looking for?
How they are similar and how they are different. How's that?
I'll write that down.
Yeah, write that down, David. This is very exciting. You know, I mean, depending on where you take this, you know, we may have to bump it to the pre-show. It might be that good. So
it may be that good. Well, and honestly, if there's a chance we could get Efron on the show.
Oh, right.
That'd be huge. I still think he belongs in the after show. You know what I mean?
But yeah, producer David, if you could get,
see if you can get Zac Efron for the after show next week.
Yeah,
I'll work on that. And as a possible alternative, funny story, the Fox knockoff show version of Glee that we were just discussing, the jock turned musical star is actually from Chattanooga. And when I was in school, we used to ride the same bus for many years. His name is Damon Gillespie. He was a cool dude, and he's a great actor. And
let's get him on the show.
Yeah, come on.
We'll sing with him.
Oh, come on. All right, now. I mean, you just said. I mean, you have to get him on the show.
Hey, David, remember when we used to be on the same school bus?
Yeah,
that's how it starts.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure he has many fond memories of riding the school bus with you. And
so he went to CSAS as well. Then
he went to CCA, Center for Creative Arts, across the river.
This sounds like a very, very elite school that he went to. I wonder if any of my children have attended that school. Throw that in. We got to get him.
Got to get him.
Because we got to have a quartet, I guess, huh? A Zoom quartet.
Well, how exciting. I mean, to hear directly from a Glee cast member, I can't imagine a better way to wrap up a season. Because also, correct me if I'm wrong, producer David, this is episode 7. Next week is the last of season 3, correct?
Right.
Oh, we got to go out with a bang. Come on. We had Adam Curry at the end of season 1.
Right.
Could not get more impressive than Adam Curry at the end of season 1.
Right.
At the end of season 2, we had
somebody also very good.
Somebody awesome. And so now at the end of season 3, you got to get that Glee guy. You get the Glee guy.
Right. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah. Okay, good. Then I think we've, I think that's a wrap.
I don't know where we can go other than up, Chris.
Yeah. So David, you have your marching orders for next week. We look forward to meeting this guy from Glee in the after show. So don't.
And as always, breaking the third or fourth wall or whatever wall we're breaking. Thank you for watching.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being on the team with us. We really do appreciate it. We get to do this because you pay attention. Click like, subscribe, share it on the social channels, the
Facebook,
Zooms, the Skypes, and the TikToks,
and the
MySpace, share
the WhatsApp
MySpace page,
the WhatsApp.
Yeah, share it on your Friendster account.
Yeah, whatever you got, share it. We appreciate it, and you have our thanks.
Yep.
We'll see you next week.